it's Whitney, and I want to welcome you to Ladies Takeover Empowerment Podcast, where we're all about helping you to succeed and become the very best version of yourself. And on tonight, it is our season finale, season 6 of Relationship Edition, episode 8. We are talking about love and families, and I could not think of a better couple to invite on this season finale than none other than Q and Kachisa McCall. Can you give it up for them as I welcome our guest for tonight? Hey guys!
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. So let me turn so I can see y'all. Let me first say thank you for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you guys have a lot going on, and so we're just going to jump right in. We're going to talk about families, love, your relationship, all that good stuff. Cool?
Cool.
So first thing, either one of you can start, but tell us about your marriage, how long you've been married, how many kids you have, all that good stuff.
You want to start?
You want to come to me? Fine. We've been married for 11 years.
Okay.
We got 4 kids total in the marriage.
Okay.
I have a son that's 15, Zion.
Really, it's 15?
Yeah, Zion's 15.
He's 14.
14. He's about to turn 15. My bad.
Okay.
I still love him. That's my son. He's about to be 15. I just be trying to hurry up and get to that 18.
I
You know what I'm
understand.
saying?
I got you.
He 14 and almost 15.
I got you.
Twin girls, Serenity and Harmony. They are 12, get ready to turn 13.
You had to get that one
I
straight.
had to make sure I get the right answer. You ain't about to embarrass me up here.
Uh-huh.
And my oldest daughter, Deja, she is 26.
26.
Really? Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
She's 26, and we have a grandchild, CJ, Charles Jr., who is 5.
He's 7.
7.
Okay, before we move forward,
It's a lot, okay? It's a lot.
why did you answer the question?
She looked at me. I mean, she gonna go like this. She gonna give me the, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay.
I thought you knew the Exactly.
You know, I'm a little roundabout. You know what I'm saying?
Close enough.
Close, Lord.
Close enough.
Okay, well then, Kachisa, answer this question. How did y'all meet?
We met in church, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, we met in church. He was a musician, and he used to come and visit the church that I was going to at the time. And eventually he just started kind of going to the church. And it was kind of weird because I just didn't know who he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even know him. And the pastor was like, oh, somebody want to meet you. And I was like, what?
What, the pastor?
The pastor's wife was like, yeah, somebody want to meet
Really?
you. I'm like, who? I'm like, ain't nobody even in here. Like, what?
Really?
Cap.
You know that's the truth.
Cap. Ain't
Oh, so
nobody
you
in
weren't
here.
trying to talk to her?
Let me tell you something. I wasn't looking at her like that neither. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, because I think I've heard this story before, and I think you was like,
But listen,
you gonna be my
somebody
wife.
brought her to my attention. The pastor brought her to my attention. I wasn't looking at her like that. I really thought she was a very beautiful, anointed woman of God. So I really didn't think she would even talk to me, especially at that time.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I was about like 22, 23.
Gotcha.
I was in church. I know God, but it was, you know what I'm saying? I love God, you know what I'm saying? But I was still fresh from mom and dad's house. I've been out on my own, and you know when you leave your mom and dad's house, you know how it goes. So
How I go?
You know what? Y'all about
the
to have
people
me
might
up
know how
here
I go. I'm a
sipping
PK,
my
okay?
drink.
I'm a PK, okay? So when you've been locked down,
What does that mean? I am too.
well,
What's that mean?
I know you, but I might not know you, okay? I know you, but I might not just know you that well, okay?
Let's carry on. How do you
Anyway,
carry on
so
with
the
this story?
pastors, they basically brought us to each other's attention.
Okay.
And that's kind of how we was introduced. And when we actually met, that day. We didn't talk for like maybe a couple of weeks, but then once we finally talked, we pretty much talked every day since then.
What's up?
and we didn't talk long because we met and married within 4 months.
Really? Wow.
And we've been married for 11 years. So.
Wow. So for everyone who is listening or watching, explain to them what that looks like, because you guys have been married now for 12 years, you said? 11. And it only took you 4 months to determine you wanted to marry her. And you said yes, right? He asked you, right? Yeah. So how did you know so quickly?
It was kind of like...
She want to cut me off.
No, it was kind of like he called and was like, yeah, he was in California. He kind of called and was like, yeah, well, when I get back, we just going to get married. And I was like, is this a proposal?
Oh.
So that was kind of like the proposal, kind of, sort of, but.
I thought you
yeah, I did ask you.
Go answer the question. Just answer it.
I did.
She trying to cut me off.
No,
not you. Her.
Okay.
So look, 4 months.
Right, this water coming in.
We 4 months. First of all, I met her. You know what I'm saying? We got introduced to each other. When I met her, I ain't gonna lie. At that point in time, I was looking for a wife.
Okay.
I was 23. I had two, I don't want to say baby mothers because it sounds so ghetto, but I had two women in my life that I had children by, and I just put two and two together. Like.
Okay, but Quentin, can I say something?
Yes.
You know that just a second ago you had said that you were 22 and you didn't think that she was going to pay you any attention because you were a PK and you was all over the place.
Yeah.
So then now you're saying that you were ready to get married in that same the same breath.
I was.
So you was playing around, but then you was ready to
get
married.
No. So I was when I met her. I was just like finding myself. You know what I'm saying? I was out here for a little minute. Once I left my parents' house, I've been living out on my own for quite some time. You know what I'm saying? So living out on my own quite some time, I started to settle down. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you know what I'm saying? Because I've done everything I thought that was cool. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. So, I just want to make sure it's clear that people understand what it is that you're saying.
Most definitely.
This is what happens sometimes. Like, people guys will be like messing around,
right,
and then they talking to women, and then women get frustrated because all of a sudden they get married and they're like, how come I wasn't the one that you chose to get married to?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm going with this question. Like, how'd you know, or after all this time you had two baby mothers, that she was the one that you wanted to be with?
I had two baby mothers. Like I said, I was young. I pretty much done everything that I thought was cool, and I came to I do have a relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? And I've spoken to God. God's spoken to me. He said, if you don't, you know what I'm saying, you need to figure out what you want to do with your life. And I always knew I wanted to get married early, and I haven't found the wife and neither one of the mother of my children. So I just took time by myself. I ain't gonna lie, I was really into praying and getting closer with a relationship with God, and I met her. And I asked God if the women nobody in my life was my wife, send me my wife. I described my wife to a T. I said I want her to be brown skinned. I want her to have a career. I want her to be physically shaped how I want her to be shaped. You know what I'm saying? I ain't asking for no Nicki Minaj, but she, you know what I'm saying? Lord, it's got to be for the rest of my life. You feel me? So she fit everything I asked God for without me even knowing, because I had to get to know her to know she had these qualities. But when I met her, I literally, that night when we met, she touched my hand. We grabbed hands when the pastor joined us to meet each other. For some reason, we end up holding hands.
Really?
Yeah, it kind of was like a handshake. Like, oh, Q, this.
Cap.
Yeah, like night.
It was like this. It was like this.
Really?
Am I lying?
No, you're not lying.
Okay,
but it was kind of like, how you doing? And
then you embraced each other's hands like that?
She cuffed it. She cuffed her hands.
Oh my God. No, I did not. You is not telling the truth right now.
You just said it was the truth.
It wasn't. It was initially a handshake.
It was, how you doing, Miss?
But then how did y'all
And
get
then he grabbed my hand like that. Like, it started as a handshake, and he was like, well, how you doing, Miss Casey?
Miss Casey, yes.
And then
I gave him one of these, and then we But you was on this side, and then we just locked hands.
Just like that.
I promise you.
Just like that.
And when we locked hands, I looked at her, she looked at me. And I was like, who are you? You know what I'm saying? She looking at me, like, I don't know what she was thinking, but I was like, who are you? So after that, I mean, it was just on from there. You feel me?
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's
she
what's
said
up.
she didn't notice me, but that's not the story I got when we got to know each
I
other.
seen you not paid attention one little time. One little time I paid attention to you. And I was like, who was that? Because you just was, the musicians don't usually be worshiping. You know what I'm saying? So you had your hands lifted up and you was praising God. I was like, oh, okay. And then one time the pastor had him pray.
Oh, she got
The pastor had him pray. So he was like kind of passing the mic to everybody to kind of pray. It was like a prayer session. And he prayed. And I was at the door. And he was walking around and he was praying. And then when he got to me, he just was praying for a little while. He was praying
that is funny because that day when I was praying, I didn't even know her, and I didn't purposely go pray for her.
Oh, you were praying for her.
And I didn't know I was praying for my wife.
Wow.
That was crazy, real crazy. And then when I finally met her, I was like, all right, shorty, all right.
Yeah, because I think the pastor was the one that said it. That's the one you was praying for.
I didn't even
service.
notice. I didn't even recognize it until we looked back.
Your spirits connected.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's cool. So that brings me to this next point about communication and how important it is. Tell me, how important is communication in your marriage, and how do you guys communicate? Why are you laughing?
I communicate very
Okay, now he's
effectively.
sipping water.
I communicate quite well. You know, I do. I'm very vocal.
You agree, Q?
I just don't like the narrative she always paints. Like, she's always on point about every single
But
thing.
I am though.
She's never wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I always look at my parents' relationship as a guide and tool to my marriage, even though it's totally two different relationships. But I just learned when to say and when not to say stuff. I'm okay with being right, but being wrong at the same time. I'm okay being wrong and right at the same time. You understand? It don't make any sense. So I'm okay being wrong to her.
Oh.
And I know I'm right. You feel
Gotcha.
me? Okay, it's like okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to agreements or disagreements and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to other things like, let's say finances, or we got to do this today, we got to do that. I'm very, communication is terrible.
That's a great way to put it, because go back and check out my last episode with this other couple. He kept saying that all he does is just tell his wife yes, or he says, okay, you're right. And I was trying to explain to him, at some point it seems condescending, like you're just saying it just to end the dispute at the moment, but you don't really feel that way.
Right.
So nothing is really resolved if you just say okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like a parent telling the child, be quiet, just say okay, but that doesn't resolve anything at the moment.
Right. So before I say okay, I get my point across.
Gotcha.
All the way out. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Even if she don't agree, she can disagree with my view or point, whatever, and I say how I feel, and then if she's still on her rant or page or feel strongly about her point of view, I just be like, okay, boo, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point, I let God deal with her. You know what I'm saying?
Excuse me?
Not saying deal with her as in
I
a
know
bad
what
way,
you're
but
saying.
like,
Yeah.
if I have,
Take your hands off of the situation.
yes, there's no point in me trying to force her to see it my way. Or sometimes when she's communicating with me and I disagree, for her to force me. At that point, if God is in the center of our marriage, I do. We might go back and forth for a little bit, and we don't go back and forth arguing. We just express how each other feel. At the end of the day, we set our true hearts to each other. At the end of the day, God deal with the rest.
That's really
you know what
good.
I'm saying?
That's really, really good. That you agree.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't never say that I'm like always right. I'm just rarely wrong.
Now we want
Rarely.
Now we want to clean it up.
Rarely wrong.
We want to clean it
I
up.
don't say like I'm always
Clean
right.
it up.
But I could probably count on one finger how many times I'm wrong.
So then, not
I
one
count 2
finger.
times. I count 2 times since we've been doing this interview. If you want to be honest, but I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. That's how I be
That's
quiet. I can be subtle. I been quartered up twice, so I can be subtle. You know what I'm saying? I don't
So
have to,
just how he said, how do you handle when he's not hearing you out? What do you do?
No, I agree. I do the same thing. Like if he doesn't agree with whatever it is I gotta say, or if I feel like he's not hearing me, then eventually I believe God will speak to him. Like, because I can't change or shift how he sees things or his perspective. So I just pray and let God, you know. And it's not that he's always wrong in situations, you know.
let's talk about
Just
it.
because I don't necessarily agree,
saying.
God would allow me to probably see it from his perspective.
Right.
Doesn't make it right.
Right.
But I will have a greater understanding as to why he probably was wrong.
Wow.
That was delayed because he was all shaking his head like,
That's about why I was wrong. Cool. Cool. See.
No, I'm just playing, but
that's
I
stuff
don't
I
have a
say
greater
cool too.
understanding
That's stuff I
of
say.
This is the
his view or how he see things. So.
I mean, it's really, really cool because I met my husband when I was 16, almost 17, and he's 3 years older than me. And he was in a different place spiritually than I was. Like you said, you grow up in church, you're a PK, but that don't mean that like you really in church. And I was in church when I was at church. When I wasn't at church, I was not thinking about God. But he was just in a different place. We're in with his walk with God. So he was all about that. And I'll never forget like when I made a transition of like focusing more on my spiritual walk, but it only happened because of my relationship with him. So like if we never continued or never got married, he made me a better person. Like he showed me how to be saved the right way, how to have fun and not have to like drink and smoke and party and go to clubs. Like we legit would have fun together. So he ended up being like my best friend, and I was able to come into who I was as a Christian with my own personal relationship to know God for myself. And so it sounds like you guys have your own separate relationship with God, separate from each other. So what do each one of you like most? Like what is a trait that you value most about each other?
Well, I didn't grow up in church, like at all.
At all.
You know, it went from kind of ratchet to righteous. You know, because
Very fast.
yeah, it did. It happened really fast. So I didn't grow up in church, but I met him at a time when I was laser focused on God, and I was just at a place where I had a very, very close relationship with God. So one of the things that I valued most about him, his character and his personality, was that he was very serious about God. He play a lot. He real silly, but when it comes to spiritual things, like he really don't play. And it'll be times where I probably want to take it to the streets, and he probably more like, nah, let's pray.
That's
And that's
awesome.
oftentimes like how we don't really go to sleep. Like if we disagree or something, not really upset. If we have a disagreement, he'd be like, come on, let's pray.
That's great.
And then we'll have a conversation if it's like something really extreme or really serious. But I think that's one of the traits that I value in him is his relationship with God, his authenticity with his relationship with God. It's not like you have a relationship with God in front of certain people. Like I can vouch for who you are as a man of God behind the scenes. Whether we're in public, whether we're in private, he's been consistent. He's always been the same. And he's very optimistic. He sees the best in everybody. I mean, everybody. It'd be people. I'd be like, "What in the world?"
Yeah, because you don't bang with some of the people.
I don't. And he got the love of God for everybody. I'm like, all right, baby Jesus, go ahead. But you know, I'm very, very protective. So oftentimes I feel like people try to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And when I
gotcha.
feel like people trying to take advantage of that, I get very, very protective. You know.
I understand. I get it.
Take advantage. I mean,
You focusing on the wrong thing.
What? No. What do I mean by take advantage? I want to not address it, but me and her see things differently. You know what I'm saying? I really do believe in loving people. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't judge nobody. You know what I'm saying? I don't like. I told her one day. She was like, "You got to learn how to da 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 da." I said, "Nobody can take advantage of me when I'm willing to give whatever they think they're taking from me." You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody think they're getting over on me, there's no way you can get over on me if I voluntarily give it to you. You know what I'm saying? And if I can give it to you and you think you're taking advantage, guess what? I'll always have more. You know what I'm saying? Because I get my blessings from God. I can never run out.
Yeah,
You know
my
what I'm
husband
saying?
says something similar like, if you think you took advantage, that's all you're going to get. So like take that because that's it after that. So, at some point, people end up learning harder lessons when they think they're taking advantage of people. But what I will say about you, Q, is that like when you were first coming around, and I didn't know you at all, but you were just a musician, but his genuine encouragement for my son playing on the drums helped him. And so like while I'm like, man, stay on beat, he's like, nah, he good. And I'm like, no, he's not. And he's over there like, man, he good. I'm telling you, he's really good. And his encouragement, rather than me being harsh, is what really helped my son. But anyways, Q, tell us what you like about Kachisa, or how does she make you better?
I like her because she looks good to me. She's very beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I always tell her she's very attractive, and I love her, not just outer appearance, but her mind and spirit and her body. All three, all in one. Not just the body, but the mind and spirit as well. I could tell you, she's truly a woman of God. She's truly a woman of God. She's definitely a woman of God. She is. She prays for me. She deals with me even when I'm not all the way together all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not perfect, but I do love the Lord and I do have a relationship. But she definitely keeps me grounded a lot of times. She loves me for who I am. She loves my kids. I was very. The way that she came into my life and decided to be my wife and the way she treated my kids was definitely changed my life.
Oh, wow.
It showed me what type of person she was because I don't know no woman that will be with, first of all, a young man, good looking young man like me. And especially a young man with two baby mothers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's different. But the way things happen between us, she just always was very mature and trustworthy. You know what I'm saying? Like this woman loves me. She don't be on my back. You know what I'm saying? Like I can trust her with anything I have,
That's
everything
awesome.
I got. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
awesome.
one quick story if I don't want to.
No, go ahead.
When I first got with her, I was playing in the clubs all the time. When I first met all the clubs, that's what she known us for. Me and my musician friends, we in church, we in the club, church and club. I would be out till 3 o'clock in the morning, which is normal time. You know what I'm saying? Because the club ain't over till 2:30, so I'm not getting on till 3, 4, 4:30. And she never called my phone.
Really?
Nor did she never bug me about taking care of my business.
Really?
Yes.
That's
So
what's
much
up.
to the point where he was calling me one day like, why are you not calling me?
Like no, I was
you
getting ready.
working,
I was getting ready to get down. I'm like, young, do you even love
Right?
me?
Do you care?
You
care?
just got me. I'm out with my buddies. They ain't even married or with the girls seriously that they talking to, and they blowing their phone up.
Because they know where they came from.
Yeah, so it made me really love her even more.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm out here with my friends. They don't got nobody. I got somebody at home. Why am I out here chilling with y'all?
Exactly.
You know
Why
what I'm
are
saying?
you?
So I'm like, it made me just appreciate what I really have in a great
Y'all
woman.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I agree. That's awesome. That's really great. I know that there was a time when my husband would tell me to call him when I would like get to work. And he'd be like, when you get to wherever you going, call me. And I'd be like, for what? Like, I don't understand what I'm calling you for. Like, what are you checking on me for? And what I realized is that there's people who wish that they had somebody who was checking for them, you know? So it is valuable to have someone who cares, who's looking out, but it just seems that like she's not that type of person.
I realized that, you know what I'm saying? And I became cool with it.
That's what's
You know what I'm
up.
saying? To adjust to what type of person she are. But now,
What does that mean? Where are we going with this?
I'm just after maybe about 9 years in, just starting to get well, I've been calling your phone.
Oh, really?
I was at work till like 9, 10 o'clock at night.
But here's the thing. I don't know. But see, this is because you didn't grow up in church. Right. If you had grown up in church, you probably would have had a different outlook on that whole musician thing. Because I promise you, if you grew up in church and girls and musicians and knowing how musicians are, you're like, you at work, like, I'm not going to bother you. But we already know how DMV musicians are, and you go from person to person to person, and you skipping all around, and all the girls lined up, and nobody talks to musicians because you just ain't faithful. I'm not saying that was cute. I'm just saying that most girls you don't make musicians your husband.
Yeah, but that's why I put God first, and God is faithful.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And I think it might have been a little bit of arrogance on my part too, because I also sometimes felt like you would be crazy to do something out here. Like, so I don't need to call you and check for you. Like,
I know that's right.
You want to come home to me.
Come on here.
Like, so.
Yes, girl.
That's
what I'm talking about. That's awesome. That's how it should. That's how it should.
And that's how it was like that in the beginning. But like over time, you start to value a true woman. You know what I'm saying? Like me being young, we got married. I was 23. You know what I'm saying? She was older than me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she already knew. She knew her worth. She didn't have to do all that.
She did not have to do all that, and she really didn't. That's how she got me, because I knew she was a great woman. I was like, I'm about to go home with my baby. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. That's cool.
That's my boo.
So that leads me to this point. You mentioned having 2 baby mamas.
Indeed.
And you have a daughter. And so when it comes to your marriage and conflict, how do you guys handle conflict with other people in your marriage and all of that stuff? Like, how does that work?
I put my foot down.
Okay, what does that mean?
He do not put his foot down.
I'm like, what does that mean?
His feet is kicked up. All the way kicked up.
No, but this go back to how I don't deal with things the same way she deal with.
Okay.
I'm very patient.
Okay.
Very loving.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And being patient and loving got me to be blessed where God has allowed me to have a great relationships with both the mother of my children.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So,
okay.
And
you don't think Kachisa had something to do with that too?
Most definitely. You know what I'm saying? She carried herself as a woman should. Anything otherwise, I would definitely, we'd have a talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, look, some of that stuff you don't really have to entertain. You know what I'm saying? And I always try to, especially as a young man, I knew that if I was going to get married, I had to be all in. There was no back and forth with the baby mother stuff. Number one. That was my number one rule. I can't do that because I can't be with a woman for the rest of my life and expect the other women in my life to respect the woman I'm with.
Right.
That was not going to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that was, I was not doing that.
Yeah.
So I had to let her know, like, you ain't got to worry about them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not going down.
That's one thing I respected too. Like, it was never an issue or concern as to any of the mothers. Like, if they call, he would answer it on speaker. It was never, you know. And then I love the kids. Like, I love them. We've been married since his son was 3 and his daughters was 1.
That's awesome.
So we pretty much raised them together.
Yeah, I see you knew their birthdays.
Yeah. Yeah, we raised them together. And their moms know that. You know, their moms know how much I love their kids. So, I mean, they shouldn't have a problem with me personally, but you can't help but respect the fact that I take very good care of the kids. Very good care of those children. Always have. And it'll be times we'll be at football games, and it'll be me and both mothers, and we will all be able to sit and communicate, and we're cordial, and people around will be like, you high in the world, you got your wife, both baby mothers, and you must be hitting everybody.
Man,
And he like,
my friends.
He like,
literally-
nah. You know the reason they can stay out here together? Because I ain't hitting nobody but my wife. That's why they can be out here together.
My friends literally was really flabbergasted on how we were able to kind of like function in the same place. Because both my baby mothers, they're great women, but come on, you know what I'm saying? They little ratchet too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got that side to them, but it was the respect factor. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I didn't respect her as my wife and also gave the respect to both my baby mothers, and not only just my baby mothers respect her, but make sure my baby mothers respect each other. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we're a big family. Like I look at it as not having 3 wives, but I'm responsible for 3 women. Until they get married and they got a man in their life, I'm not paying your bills. We're not spending time together. But when it comes to how we govern ourselves in public as a family, we got you ain't gonna embarrass me. We're not doing that.
We had birthday parties
That's
and
what's up.
cookouts and
That's what's up. So when does conflict come?
More so with me and them, not them and her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I always communicate with them. Like, there's no need for them to be talking point blank, period. I don't allow them to have too much conversation unless it's a situation that like the kids are with her and I'm not home.
Gotcha.
You know what
So
I'm saying?
then what do you do when the conflict comes with kids?
well, even in those situations, like I will correct the children. Like I'll correct them, and they know.
Really?
Yeah, I'll correct them. And as soon as I say I'm gonna call your father, then that pretty much seals the
Really?
deal. They don't want to have to deal with him. Not so much because he's such a disciplinary, but he will literally talk to them for hours. He will talk to you so much, and you be like, "Can you just beat me?"
Are you serious?
Like he will talk to them.
Really?
No, he would, and they would. But it'll be a deep conversation, and ultimately they get to the bottom of whatever the issue was. But he'll talk to them so much they start confessing stuff that wasn't even on the table. I mean, he will get to the bottom of it. I'm trying to tell you, he will get to the very bottom
Ain't
of it.
nothing wrong with that.
But
So you don't spank your kids?
oh, indeed.
Oh, okay.
So we gonna talk. We gonna talk for a while. But I put God in that. You know what I'm saying? Because I pray before I even talk to them or discipline them.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I don't want to discipline my kids out of anger or reaction. You know what I'm saying?
You got my son excited. Listen, my son is over here like raising his hands and getting excited.
No, I do.
Don't let the prophet come out, because if we start finding out the truth and we start bringing God in this, you gonna have a whole nother issue.
But that's
so I don't think you want us to go to praying.
But that's
what you would like for us to do. Okay.
But I pray because. And that, like you said, at that time, God will be able to begin to show you, and you begin to see what the real issue is.
I agree.
So
150%.
therefore, you'll begin able to ask the right questions where they don't have no choice to answer because the Holy Spirit is present. And that's how I discipline my kids. Not saying I praying and we having full out service. No, we just sitting down talking. You know what I'm saying? Because but it's coming. It's coming. It's going. Discipline is coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I just want to talk to you.
Because that's the word of God.
Yeah. I just want you to.
We don't get to pick parts of it. We
And
taking
then
all
he'll do
of
like, what you want, like 2 lashes, 3 lashes?
Are you serious?
Like the way I grew up, you getting a beating. You ain't even
What?
counting these
2
things.
lashes, 3 lashes. What are we talking about?
The reason why we count the lashes because I want you to understand what you did. You have to fully comprehend what you're doing. Now, 2 lashes, we might say 3-2, but you might get +2. You know what I'm saying? +3.
2 plus
But
4.
I want you to tell me what do you deserve. So you.
What if they say 0?
They would
They
never.
have. No.
I
don't think I
deserve anything.
No. I don't think.
Just,
After the conversation, they never say I don't think I deserve anything.
then they'll be like maybe 1 or 2.
The numbers be low, but I bring it back on up. They say about 2. I say, man, I was thinking 15.
What?
And then I meet them in the medium.
About 7.
We come back down. You know what I'm saying? We come back down. Now it might be 7 minus 1 plus 2, whatever the Holy Spirit leads. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a great approach. When my husband, when we first got married, he worked a lot. He was a manager at a store, and a large chain store. So my kids were younger. I had to do a lot of the disciplining, and I had 2 boys, so I had to make sure I followed through with what it was that I said. And so I needed to figure out a way that worked for me. Spanking was definitely on the table.
Right.
But I didn't want to be one of those moms that's like yelling and screaming and beating your kids out in public, because my parents didn't do that to me.
Right.
I don't even think I got spanked once by my father, and then he was like he would never do it again, and because it was so traumatic. And then my mom, she would like slap me because I got smart. So with my kids, they would do something, and then I would be like, okay, I'm a spank you, like I'm a count. If I get to a certain number, I would count to like 3. If I get past 3, you're getting a spanking. So most of the time, they would think that I was just talking. So they think I forgot. I'd calm down because my dad always said never spank in anger. So I wouldn't spank in anger. Wait till we get home. They gone upstairs, doing whatever, playing around. I'd be talking. One time, Denise and I were talking at the table. I was like, oh, I almost forgot. I was like, I'll be right back. Went right upstairs, and all she heard was, and I'm spanking them. Because I'm like, I have to stick to what I said that I was going to do. So most of the time, after they realized that I was going to do it, once I got to 1, they stopped. And I didn't have to do much spanking after that once I followed through with what it is that I said that I was going to do. And now it's just exhausting. I don't have time to be spanking.
Yeah. I think my approach was like way different. Like with my daughter, I was very strict.
What?
I was very.
She abusive. Man, shorty crazy. Don't let her sit up here and lie to you like that. Don't let her sit up and lie to you. Let me tell you something.
Oh my gosh.
So did you let Q discipline, or you only got with your
That's too much discipline.
You didn't need to.
I mean, I done seen Shorty do some things where I let her discipline because I never got in that's disciplining our oldest daughter, Deja. Deja is older, you know what I'm saying? I didn't miss the I'm stepdad type, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
At that point, I gotta earn it. You know what I'm saying? What I mean earn it is just be a man and be a good man to her mother. I just want to be. But when it comes to discipline, but discipline and all that, I ain't have to step in and do none of that because she was almost. I think she was what, like
13.
13? Yeah, she was already getting ready to go to high school. So anything, I just want to be around.
Was already past them days.
She was putting hands. She's putting hands.
Really?
And one time she was putting hands. I said, wait.
He just look. Somebody gonna call the police, please.
I'm sure you're past the limit where discipline is no longer the case in this situation. You gotta stop. No matter of fact, you're going to stop. We're not doing this.
He said, I'm sure we are past.
Yeah, because you know what I'm saying? You sit back, just let it. And you go, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, all right, boom, boom, boom. I said, wait a minute. Too many flunks going on in the room. It need to stop right now. That's why God put me here. To stop these flunks. You know what I'm saying? She's already good. She a good kid. Doing too much. I said, wait a minute. We gotta stop.
That is funny. That is funny.
But he did help a lot, like with that, because I was a young mother. I felt like I had to be very guarded and strict with how I raised her, because I always felt like people would have an opinion or stereotype me because I was a young mom, or if she wasn't smart, if she wasn't disciplined, if she wasn't respectful, and all these different things. So any sign of disrespect, I was on it. I was on it. And I realized later, I was like, maybe that approach probably wasn't necessary.
Definitely.
But she's an amazing young lady now.
Amazing.
So,
That's my boo-boo.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So you can say no if you don't want to answer, but I know that I've had a lot of like intimate moments with my mom, and like hindsight is always 20/20. So have you apologized to her, or have you found yourself where you guys have those conversations?
Oh yeah, we definitely had those conversations now, because we talk every day. Like we talk so often, and I often ask her like how my level of discipline affected you as a young woman, as a child, and growing up into your teen years, and as a young woman. And then she would tell me, it was kind of a bit extreme. It was a bit extreme, but I think you did the best that you knew how to do. And which I did, and not that I got disciplined a lot when I was growing up, but my siblings all got disciplined. I was pretty, neutral. I didn't really get in trouble a lot. But my siblings, they all got disciplined. But I don't think it was that caused me to discipline her in that way. I think it was more so because I was young and I didn't want her to do the same things that I did. So I was trying to do whatever I could to prevent her from going down that same path.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. So I really appreciate you guys. I think that you're helping a whole lot of people that are listening to your conversations, and we're talking about love and family, and we're digging into this whole family thing. So, with the last moments that are left, what advice could you give, both of you, to families that are blended, like they're struggling? You touched on it already, kind of, when you were talking about, you keep everything out in the open, but what advice could you give to families that are blended?
I think that's one of the things I would say. Being transparent, being open, not having any type of, I guess, like behind the scenes situation. The more open you are with a person, the more they can trust you. And then also just always operating in genuine love and just like when you like a person, when you like the kids, like. And then I think it's important, like, for the parents to be able to communicate, because a lot of times children can be manipulative.
Yes.
So as parents, we have to be on the same page and make sure that the children don't try to play us against each other at the same time, or not even just us, but even with their moms, not playing their moms against their dad or playing their moms against me. And just being able to discern when it's manipulation or when it's genuine issues. And so you just got to kind of, and I think all that comes back to being able to have a relationship with God, because when you got a relationship with God, like, that's always going to be able to allow you to be able to discern what's right in a situation and what's sketchy in a situation, for me. So.
Absolutely. Q.
I would come from a male perspective. On all serious, I know I've been joking this whole time. Like my wife said, like, I know keeping God first is number one. You know what I'm saying? Because you definitely got to have patience to deal with multiple women in your life. Another thing that helped me out, and God really had to deal with me with dealing with the mother of my children, is I had to realize that some of the things I was going through with them was because of things I've caused. You know what I'm saying? Hurt, pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, things we've been through together that I never really addressed.
Wow.
And I remember a time where I went to both of them and I asked them just to forgive me for whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Forgiveness between the mother of your children is definitely will help your situation.
Wow.
Being understanding, having patience. Even though things might be tough, man, put God first and keep praying on it. He'll change your situation.
That's awesome.
I went from being on child support and all that type of stuff to now I'm off child support in one situation, and the other situation is just sweet. Like, we communicate. She even blessed me with not doing, you know what I'm saying, owing so much and stuff like that. And these are women that in the beginning had vindictive, what do you call that word?
Vindictive.
They were very vindictive, feel like they were vindictive towards me. And the more I got closer to God helped me understand and help me how to maneuver this situation and allow me to show them love that they probably would never ever be able to see from me or understand and have compassion towards my own situation to be a better father for my kids. And that's real talk.
Yeah. Sometimes people just want to hear that. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Forgiveness.
Yeah. That's all they want.
That broke the back of everything. Everything.
But for real, like, and I think it's just the acknowledgement that, you know what, I did some shady stuff. I'm sorry, my bad. And then you can move on from there. Because at the end of the day, if you chose who you chose, I don't necessarily want to be with you. You know what I mean? I just want you to acknowledge that that I'm hurt. My feelings is hurt. And everybody doesn't necessarily know how to communicate that.
Right.
So I think that that's amazing that you did that, and that makes a whole lot of sense. So I'll end on this. How has your spouse made you better?
You want me to go first?
Yeah. Wheels is still turning.
Well, I can say Q made me better because, like I mentioned before, he's very optimistic about a lot of things, and I can be really critical and very analytical, kind of cut and dry about situations. So I think that he helps me to see things from a way different perspective, and not to always follow my natural inclination to just be irritated or lash out in certain situations. So it made me a little bit more patient. It made me see things differently, where I'm not always annoyed or irritated or ready to pop off on people. It's like, you know what? So it's kind of helping me start to see the best in people. Recognize that a lot of times it's not really the person, that it's always different spirits that are operating within a person a lot of times, and a lot of times those things be to cause me to kind of step out of line. So I'm being more mindful of those things, not letting things trigger me to, and I think that he's helped me a lot with that.
That's good. I know that I can be very cynical. Like, it's just like a natural thing. But my husband is the complete opposite. So I tend to think the worst. And he'll be like, man, you don't even know. Like, you just made up a whole story in your mind. Yes, I did. And I'm going with that until they prove
show me
wrong.
otherwise.
Yeah, because what I think sounds about right. You know what I mean? So, like, I need someone to tell me different. So, like, I have learned, though, that I'm going to choose the opposite. But most of the time, what pisses me off is when I choose the opposite. I'm like, I know it. I end up finding out, and I was like,
to show you who they are, believe it.
I'm
Believe
like,
the first
I
time.
know it. See, this is what I get for trying to assume that everybody was great. They're not. And I'm like, shoot. So, but my husband is the same exact way. He's the same exact way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's great. It helps to stretch you to be better, and I just kind of try to find a little happy medium because I'm still a little cynical. But most of it, I think, comes from life experiences, things that have happened. People have shown me how they are. I used to be very green. Everybody was lovely. I didn't understand why people, like, everybody's the same way I am. I'm so friendly and giving until they weren't. And I was like, what in the world is going on here?
Now I don't trust none of y'all.
Absolutely. So, Q, how about you?
I was just laughing because you said cynical. I was remind me of when she be saying all these words. I was like, what are you talking about?
Don't say that to me. I don't know what you're saying.
English. He said it.
Oh my God.
I was my bad. But my wife has made maturity. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, help me be very, very mature because in the beginning of our marriage, like she said, I'm very playful, nonchalant. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I don't care. It might not seem like I care, but I do care.
You get tickets and be like, rippity, rip, rip, rip. No, we ain't rippity, rip, rip. You gotta pay these.
Yes,
like,
before they double.
She forgot I grew up on Marty Ma. You know what I'm saying?
Rippity, rippity, rip, rip. Like,
He
you
told me
know you gotta pay these.
He
right?
told me how to deal with the tickets.
Oh, and that was TV, sir.
I didn't know.
You better get out of here.
No, like, I used to go rippity rip, but like really mature, like responsibility, like.
What was happening with these rippity rips?
Man,
They was doubling. You say
They was doubling up. Yes, they definitely was.
They was doubling, tripling. I think I got.
Were they in your name?
Yeah, I probably got a couple FTAs. I probably got pulled over and I'm in a La Plata, Upper Marlboro, and Hinesville. Maybe all together.
All three
Yeah,
of
yeah.
them.
I think Hinesville twice. But hey, you know what I'm saying? God had his grace and mercy upon my life. I never had to put the orange suit on. You feel me?
Shall we continue this way? God forbid.
But she helped me be more mature and be more responsible. And I guess, like, just don't take everything as a joke. I mean, she changed me to be a better father, a better husband, a better employee. You know what I'm saying? Everything, because I was just young and doing what I wanted to do. You feel me? I didn't care too much about nothing, but I still took care of my business. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't take care of it professionally the way she told. But she's changed me in a whole lot of ways. Patience, understanding, love, kindness.
That's great. That's so beautiful.
She alright.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate you. This has been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Yes. So, thank you guys. This has been absolutely amazing. This whole entire season 6 relationship edition, this was our season finale. And we want to remind you to like, share, follow us. Go back and watch all of our episodes. We hope to see you next time when we come back with part 2 of relationship edition at our next season. See you next time.